Man, let's talk about the question that can change your life. What makes a wife narcissistic? Not difficult, not emotional, not strong-minded. I'm talking about the kind of marriage where you feel confused, drained, and like you slowly lost yourself, and you can't even explain it to anyone without sounding crazy. Because here's the truth. Most men don't leave a toxic relationship because they don't have proof. They have patterns. They have a gut feeling. They have a nervous system that's on fire. And they have this constant question in their head. Am I dealing with a narcissistic wife, or am I the problem? Today, I'm going to give you clarity. Not a label you throw around, not internet buzzwords, but a clear framework to help you identify the difference between normal marital conflict and a narcissistic control dynamic. And also, I'm going to tease my upcoming book, The Narcissistic Wife, because this episode is the foundation of what that book is built on. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the Narc Free Man Podcast.
Welcome back to the Narc Free Man Podcast, the show where men get the clarity, strength, and strategy they need to break free from toxic relationships and rebuild their lives. And if you are new here, this channel is for men who feel stuck in a toxic relationship with a narcissistic woman, men recovering from emotional abuse, men dealing with gaslighting and trauma bonds, and men who are trying to figure out how to leave a narcissistic wife without losing themselves, their money, or their kids. If that's you, you are in the right place. Before I go any further, I need to say something that separates this channel from a lot of lazy content online. Not every difficult woman is a narcissist. A wife having emotions is not narcissism. A wife having needs is not narcissism. A wife being upset is not narcissism. Healthy women can be emotional and still take responsibility. Healthy couples can argue and still repair. Healthy conflict ends with clarity, resolution, and mutual respect. Narcissistic conflict ends with confusion, blame shifting, punishment, and you apologizing for problems you didn't cause. So today, we are not hunting for a label. We are looking for a pattern, because the real difference isn't intensity, it's control. Here's the cleanest way I can define a narcissistic wife in real life language. A narcissistic wife uses control, validation, and emotional dominance to regulate her self-worth. That means she can't stay stable internally. She needs the outside world, especially you, to make her feel okay. So she doesn't connect through mutual respect. She connects through leverage. And that leverage looks like guilt, shame, fear, withdrawal, punishment, and constant narrative control. That's why this feels like psychological warfare. Not because you are dramatic, because the rules keep changing and reality keeps getting rewritten. A lot of the info online about narcissism is based on male behavior, loud arrogance, obvious entitlement, explosive rage, and direct domination. But female narcissism often looks different. A narcissistic wife can be socially charming, calm in public, the sweet one to everyone else, emotionally expressive in ways that make you look like the cold one, and extremely convincing when she plays victim. So the abuse doesn't always show up as screaming. It shows up as silent treatments, emotional withdrawal, subtle humiliation, gaslighting, and reputation control. The most dangerous narcissistic wives don't look dangerous at all. They look normal, which is why you feel crazy. Let me give you a picture here. A healthy marriage feels like you can breathe. You can be yourself. You can speak and be heard. A narcissistic marriage feels like you are constantly scanning the room. What mood is she in? What version of her am I getting today? Is it a safe day or a punishment day? And when you live like that, your identity starts shrinking. That's not marriage stress. That's conditioning. Now, here's a step-by-step framework of what makes a wife narcissistic. Step 1 is to stop analyzing moments and start analyzing patterns. Most men say, she did this one thing. She said this one thing. We had this one fight. Narcissistic wives operate through cycles: love bombing, devaluation, confusion, guilt, intermittent reinforcement, and repeat. If you keep zooming in, you'll stay confused. Freedom starts when you zoom out. Ask, is this relationship improving over time, or is my confidence decreasing over time? That question alone will expose the truth. Now, step 2 is what I call the accountability test. A healthy wife can do 3 things. Number 1, self-reflect. Number 2, apologize. Number 3, change behavior over time. Now, a narcissistic wife may apologize, but it's usually vague or short-lived or followed by the same exact pattern or used to reset your hope. Here's how you can tell the difference. If you bring up a concern and the conversation becomes, you are too sensitive, you are overreacting, or you are the real problem, or I can't believe you'd accuse me, or after all I've done for you, that's not accountability. That's blame shifting. And if she cannot take responsibility without turning it into your fault, you are not dealing with a communication issue. You are dealing with an ego defense system. Step 3 is to watch what happens when you assert independence. Narcissistic wives often escalate when you set boundaries with them, pursue your own goals, spend time with your friends, focus on your health, build your self-confidence, or stop seeking her approval, because your independence threatens her control. So she may respond with coldness, guilt, sabotage, picking fights before important events, accusing you of not caring, or turning the kids into leverage. A healthy wife can tolerate your independence. A narcissistic wife experiences it as abandonment or disrespect and tries to regain power. This is where many men realize this isn't love, this is possession. Step 4 is, does your reality keep getting rewritten? This is the gaslighting layer. Not always obvious lies. Sometimes it's subtle. You say, this hurt me. And she says, that's not what happened. You say, you said this. She says, I never said that. You say, we agreed on this. She says, you are twisting everything. And you start doing something no healthy man should have to do in his own marriage. You start keeping receipts in your own head, replaying conversations, second-guessing yourself, doubting your memory, doubting your instincts. Men, if you regularly leave conversations feeling confused, guilty, and like you need to apologize just to stop the tension, that's not normal conflict. That's psychological control. Step 5 is the cost test. What has this relationship cost you? Not money, you. Has it cost you confidence, peace, sleep, health, friendships, relationship with your kids, your ability to focus, your sense of self-respect? A lot of men don't realize they are in an emotionally abusive marriage until they finally notice they have become a smaller version of themselves. A narcissistic wife doesn't just hurt your feelings. She reshapes your identity. Now let's talk about something controversial but real. A lot of therapists miss narcissistic abuse dynamics, especially when the narcissist is the wife. Why? Because therapy is built on mutual responsibility and communication models. And those models work when both people have empathy and accountability. But in narcissistic dynamics, therapy can become a stage. She performs for the therapist. She cries. She looks reasonable. She reframes you as angry or unstable. And you walk out doubting yourself even more. Look, I'm not anti-therapy, not at all. I'm saying therapy without a clear understanding of narcissistic patterns can accidentally reinforce the abuse. So that's why I strongly recommend to not go to marriage counseling with a narcissist. That's why men come to me saying they've tried everything. They communicated, they compromised, they improved themselves, and it got worse because you are using healthy tools in an unhealthy system. Now, let's get practical. If you are listening and you're thinking, this sounds like my marriage, here's what I recommend you do next. First thing is to stop arguing with her reality. Every argument is designed to drain you, not resolve anything. So stop defending, stop explaining, stop debating. Not because you are weak, but because you are done feeding the fire. The second thing I recommend doing is to document the patterns, not the drama. Write down what happens after you set boundaries, have a disagreement, or accountability attempts. Track that cycle and track the triggers. This will help restore your reality. The next thing I'll do is rebuild your identity with daily reps. Hit the gym, get good sleep, have a solid routine, and community. You cannot exit a toxic relationship with an empty identity. Small wins create internal stability. The next thing you need to do is build a strong support system that she can't poison. One strong man in your corner can change everything. Isolation is where she wins. Connection is where you wake up. The next step you'll do is plan your exit quietly, not emotionally. Don't announce it. Don't threaten divorce in the middle of a conflict. Quiet preparation is power. So get your finances in order, get legal clarity, because a narcissist can't sabotage what she doesn't know. That's how you go from confusion to control. This is all the foundation of my upcoming book, The Narcissistic Wife. It's written for the man living in a marriage he can't explain. It breaks down what makes a wife narcissistic, how she treats her husband behind closed doors, why men stay, and the strategy to detach and rebuild your life. Because you don't need more motivation, you need a map. If this episode gave you clarity, do two things. First, subscribe to the Narc Free Man Podcast on YouTube, because this is where men come to get clarity, not comfort. And if you are dealing with a narcissistic wife or a toxic relationship, you need consistent truth in your ear. Second is stay close for the release date of The Narcissistic Wife. I'm going to be sharing more frameworks from the book and giving men language for what they have lived through for years. You are not crazy, you are not weak, and you are not alone. So until next time, stay grounded, stay strong, and stay narc free.